So right here, we have Rate the Protagonist. Now, if you're familiar with Maximilian Dude, he often does things like rate the fatal, rate the super, rate the character, rate the costume, usually in fighting games, and then he gives them a rating of between 1 to 10. I want to do Rate the Protagonist of Smashing 13 Machinimas. Why specifically Smashing 13 Machinimas? Because if I were to try and do every single Machinima protagonist, I would be here all night just doing this, and I don't want to do that. Starting off with Smash Sisters. Alright, doesn't really have a central character, so moving on. Oh, look, it's my shit. Ryu is a bit of a strange case because I wanted to keep him very close to his canonical self that you see in the Street Fighter games, but does that really make for an interesting protagonist? Yeah, if it's done right, but it can also come off as very boring and just safe. Can I really even rate this that well if it's basically supposed to be just Street Fighter Ryu? I guess I can. I could give that like a 5. Like just the bare minimum, I guess. So middle down the line. There you go. 5 out of 10. Wolf from the Forgotten Ones, which was kind of cursed by the name because now everyone has forgotten that it exists. Now Wolf, I actually had a lot of fun writing him, and I'm going to be rating these a little differently from my characters because I'm mainly rating them based on the writing and the execution. But writing Wolf was a lot of fun. Cool to have him in a very dark machinima that was the Forgotten Ones, which had a whole theme of basically abandonment and survival. And seeing Wolf kind of struggle starting out as a lone wolf, trapped in the third world, and then him eventually opening himself up to work with Snake. The series itself is pretty dated, which kind of sucks because it's not that old, but it's very rough to go back to. I enjoyed the overall execution, his whole character and his whole tone and his relationship with Snake were all very well, and they fit very well with the whole setting. This is another case with Ryu where I wanted to keep him close to the Star Fox Cannon Wolf. Still did take some risks, so I mean that kind of bumps it up to about a 6, maybe a 7. I'll keep it at a 7 out of 10 for now. Maybe I'll change my mind later. Smash Past Mario, which apparently is the main character. On there, someone put Mario as the protagonist, which, okay, I never said who the protagonist was, but sure, you can say Mario. I guess Mario does get a lot of screen time and is focused a lot, especially with the current episodes that are out. He's a very difficult one to cheer for, and that's basically something that you need in a protagonist. If you're making a protagonist, you have to want to cheer for them, support them. You want to see them overcome certain feats. And with Mario, he does have a pretty interesting dynamic, how he's pretty much becoming power hungry since he's fighting with DK over control over this new world that they're in, which is the Smash world. It does still make it pretty intriguing seeing just how different he is, just how brutal he can be towards his allies, towards his enemies, towards everyone, how he doesn't even know that he's basically... Okay, I'm saying stuff that can be very spoilery here. That gives a very interesting dynamic, and another thing to cheer for. A thing to cheer for him to basically overcome his newly adopted rage. So I think it's a pretty interesting dynamic because I'm writing it. I really enjoy writing Mario and his overall execution in the episodes. It seems like other people do too. So right now I'm going to give him an 8 because I think he's better than Forgotten One's Wolf, who is currently a 7. And I have not changed my mind about that yet. The Mind Freak protagonist. There's a lot about this that I can't spoil because it is legitimately a movie. It is an hour and 49 minutes. So I really won't spoil much, but I will say that the character is heavily inspired by things that I really like. Action cartoon protagonists, comic book movie protagonists, and also I really enjoyed crafting this as, unlike Wolf and Ryu, this is an original character. Same thing with Smash Pass Mario, but even then he still keeps some of Mario's roots. This is still a 100% original character. Again, inspired by a bunch of other characters, but God, this is so weird because I'd give this a 9 out of 10 just because it fits with my my interests, which was the whole point of me writing this character this way. Oh, but do I really want to give this a 9 out of 10? Fuck it, I'll keep it at 9 out of 10 for right now. I'm gonna sound very conceited. Something that is only partially mine. Expandong Donkey Kong. I don't really know if he's a character you really want to cheer for. He is still a very fun character to be around. I don't really know if he really fits the role of popular protagonist or very memorable protagonist. He's just kind of there in the face. He's more of a mascot than a protagonist. But there's really nothing there that makes you wanna really see DK accomplish certain things, other than the fact that, hey, we've got this joke scenario. And DK is really funny. Everyone in Expandong is really funny. I'll give him a 6 for right now, just because he is still a very enjoyable character to be around, and that's something that you kind of need in a protagonist. You gotta have something that's at least entertaining to see on screen. Timmy O'Toole, I almost forgot his name. It was actually pretty interesting to see Timmy throughout Smash Bullies. So, Timmy here actually went through quite a lot. With being bullied and almost being pushed to commit suicide, then overcoming that, and eventually even working with his bullies to fight the evil Linguini. And then they ended up murdering him. Yes. We got to see Timmy witness his parents die, and still, he remains the bigger man. He doesn't get his revenge on Tony, aside from beating him up. And also with the whole family conflict of, this isn't your real father, it's really Len. Oh wait, this isn't your real mother either. You've lived a lie your whole life. He's went through a lot of shit. Even despite that, and him having the opportunity to kill his enemies multiple times, he refuses to be the bully. He keeps being the stronger one of, I guess, everyone in the show. I actually want to give Timmy about an 8 out of 10. Very fun to see on screen. I don't know if he was as fun as, say, Tony or Len, but still very cool, very good face of Smash Bullies. The legendary hero Dirk. He is the legendary hero of what exactly? I have no fucking clue. I don't think it was ever explicitly stated. All we know is that he's legendary hero. He was killed by his ex-best friend Dart, and now he is in heaven and hell. Dirk is a lot like Expandong Donkey Kong, where he's a fun face to be around. He's funny. He goes through some funny scenarios, but overall as a protagonist and someone to cheer for, there's really nothing there for him other than I want to go back to the living. And then also, as some other things that he's done, he's killed his best friend's wife, or let his best friend's wife get killed. He's a dick to people in heaven and hell, and he's very conceited about being this legendary hero. But we have yet to see him do anything legendary or do anything that would make us say, yes, this is a legendary character who I want to continue to see. I have to give that about a 4, honestly, as a protagonist. Fun character, but as a main character, kind of lacking. Duke Nukem from Duke Nukem in Smash. He's a Duke Nukem out of 10. Smasher Z does not have any main characters, so we move on to Chaos. And Rams is now in chat, so here's where things get very awkward. So I honestly am a bit tired of Chaos, if I'm not gonna lie. Pretty interesting to see her in Smasher Z as the villain. It really did change up the dynamic of that show. How didn't really see it coming until she was actually revealed. But this isn't Smasher Z Chaos. Yes, it is from the same universe, I guess. This is specifically Chaos, which is the prequel series of Smasher Z, basically showing her origins and all. And she kind of faces the same problems that some of these other characters have. As a protagonist, there's not really much there that, at least in my perspective, is there that makes me want to root for her. I don't know if that's just knowing that she's the villain. Probably not, because you could watch a movie like Joker and still want to cheer for Arthur Fleck, even when he becomes the Joker, even though we know in the back of our heads the Joker is the villain. But with Chaos, I don't really feel much there that makes me want to root for her, other than the fact that she's being manipulated and kind of abused by her father, Ganondorf. And I mean, yeah, it's cool that she has all these powers and all. Honestly, you could tell me that the actual protagonist of Chaos is Princess Star or Boleth, and I'll believe you. I'll think that that's more realistic than saying that Chaos is. She still feels like a villain rather than a protagonist. Also, as a character, she's grown to be pretty stale. Basically, that whole character trope of wanting revenge after some tragedy happened, which, again, can be done right, and not saying that Chaos is done bad, just that kind of has grown old. As a protagonist, she's about a 3, and as a character, she's about a 5, and that averages out to about a 4 out of 10. I've dug my own grave, haven't I? Ultimate Heroes for Hire Pichu. Actually a very interesting case with this, how Pichu is basically the underdog who also develops these powers that are inside of him thanks to the Master Hand. And even though he's been known as the weakest ever since Melee, and he's been abandoned, Pichu still shows that he's got some sick potential. That actually leads him to become one of the Ultimate Heroes for Hire, and he actually does some pretty cool stuff on screen. And yeah, it's cool to see Pichu and also understand that he's got this darker past. He's had some love that has gone sour. You can kind of see that trail behind him with his relationship with Wave. He's also got a unknown but I guess complicated relationship with his brother. Pichu really reminds me of an action cartoon protagonist, and like I said, that's what I like the most. Honestly, I feel pretty inclined to give Pichu a 10 out of 10. There's not really much that I can think of that would make me lower Pichu's score, other than the fact that he simps for Wave, even though, you know, Wave tried to kill him. Maybe 10 out of 10 wasn't the best idea. I'll stick with the 10 out of 10 for right now. Smash World does not really have a central protagonist. Delusions of Grandeur. And this is specifically the remake, not the original by Razanak. This is specifically the one made by JP. So Mewtwo in the original one, I might as well just talk about this just because why not? Mewtwo in the original one was like all the other characters. Pretty awkward because the text and the actual visuals on screen were, we'll just say, half-baked. The story itself was very interesting, and the plot, but JP basically gave Mewtwo and the whole series a fresh coat of paint. Mewtwo is seen as a cool combatant, even though he is a low tier. Seeing him go up against Fox, who's high tier. It's cool to see his dynamic with Pichu and some other characters like Pikachu. It's cool to see him as a good sport in tournaments and see him take action against threats like Fox. He fits that action cartoon type protagonist very well. Really cool character to see on screen. I feel like Mewtwo is about a 9 out of 10 behind Pichu. I don't really think Mewtwo is a 10 out of 10, but yeah, pretty good, 9 out of 10. Smash-Tasm 6, Super 64. Specifically, Smash-Tasm 6, not Smash-Tasm the entire series. That would be completely different. And I gotta say, I was honestly pretty disappointed with Super 64 in Smash-Tasm 6. Super 64 and all of the other characters in Smash-Tasm 6 were just references. They basically took the references of all the characters, compiled like their best moments, and stitched that all together to make one character that just doesn't feel like themselves. Feels like a stereotype of all the characters. And I feel like Super 64 is the most painful example of that. There was one line in Season 2, Episode 5, where he said, "You're obviously the bad guy, and the bad guy always loses." And that basically became his whole character. It didn't work, really. Super 64 felt so much more useless. What made him really good in Season 2 up until then was that he was still a noob, but he was still willing to take responsibility as a moderator. And on top of that, he went about this with a lot of confidence, kind of hiding the fact that he didn't know what he was doing, even though it was still pretty evident. And he was still willing to embark on this new mission to save Leet Fox and Lamp after they were captured by Giram 6. But now in 6, he's just useless. I honestly have to give this a 2 out of 10. I really just don't like it that much. The Elites of Light Isabelle, which we're going to be opening up a can of worms right here because I've not been keeping up with this series. I've only ever watched the first 2 episodes. From what I've seen in episode 1 and 2, and this could have completely changed. Overall, she basically just seems like a crybaby that was given this new responsibility just because she's the main character. She should get this responsibility to lead the new Elites of Light. She didn't really do anything that big in the first 2 episodes. Not really my type of protagonist, so in my perspective, I'd give Isabelle a 3. Just because it's not really in my interest, and I don't really have that much information because I've not been keeping up with the series. Audrey from Smash Illustrated. Let's just say that the model used was interesting, but it was combined with very great visual editing, very great cinematography. On top of that, they also had her monologuing, talking about her aspirations to be a model. The whole thing was basically her daydreaming, which was pretty cool. She's got a pretty vivid imagination. She's also funny. A rating. Gonna give this one an 11 out of 10. A 16 out of 10. A 26.1533338753 squared out of 10. And finally is Hyro Blazer from Smash Connects. We haven't really seen much from him yet, mainly because there's only really episode 1 of Smash Connects out. Not really there much to judge, other than, hey, he's a gamer, he can fight against annoying Sonic players using this BS strategy of pretending to rage quit. But I mean, that's something. He's resourceful, I guess. Split this halfway, give him a 5 out of 10. Nothing bad, nothing good, just middle so far. Nothing I can really judge.